welcome to another YouTube video. Today I'm going to be talking about unique things that can change your life. I watch a lot of self-help videos and read a lot of self-help books, and a lot of them always seem to be talking about the same thing. This is going to be a little different. There's going to be some stuff you may have heard about, and there's going to be some stuff you may have not heard about. I wanted to compile a short list of unique things that can just change a person's life, and that personally I've tried and that have just changed me to being such a stronger person than I was just even a year ago. So the first thing on my list is Alexander technique. If you're an actor like me and you go to an acting school or Juilliard or NYU or AMDA, you've probably heard about Alexander technique. It is basically a concept that helps you improve your posture and your mobility on paper, but it does so much more than that. Because Alexander teaches you about your head-neck relationship, and it helps you to be more mindful of the way you go about your daily activities. It also helps you to connect your body with your mind. With all that said, you're probably wondering, okay, question mark? That's a lot of things from this guy named Alexander. I know, it does sound a little whack, it does sound a little sketch, but trust me, it is incredible. And I've been doing it for a semester at my college, and honestly, it has changed my life. And it has changed the way I look on a lot of things. So in Alexander, the main thing that I have learned is to honor the spine. And in doing this, you're able to establish a good head-neck relationship. Because a theory in Alexander is that the way we position our bodies and the movements that we do actually affect our mind. And I found this to be quite insightful, that when you're sitting and you're open, you tend to feel more open, and when you're sitting and you're closed, in Alexander words, in Alexander terms, you tend to feel a little bit more reserved. There is so much depth I can go into to explain these concepts, but the best way to learn about Alexander is to go to an Alexander class or to connect with somebody that is trained in the technique. You could study it online, but honestly, this is something that you have to do in person, because there are just so many things that you probably didn't think about that will just be taught in Alexander. That's just incredible. So Alexander can definitely change, or if not, improve your life, because it definitely did with mine in the short time that I have participated in my Alexander class at school. So the next thing on this list is something I also learned from a class. This is not an advertisement for my school, but to have a yes day. A big rule of improv is just kind of yesing things, right? Like, let's say your partner in improvisation is like, is that a banana? Yes. And it's my favorite food, like yes-anding. That's a concept that we learned in class. So our teacher told us to actually have a yes day, a day where you just yes things. Now, of course, you also have to do this with a bit of your own discretion. You can't yes everything, but yes the things that you wouldn't normally do. For instance, I usually take the metro back home, or I take a specific route home. I take like 2 different routes, like every day. But one day I decided, you know what? I'm gonna walk through Central Park to get back to my dorm. And I did. And it was an adventure, and it was fun. I stopped to Magnolia, I got some banana pudding, And it felt so freeing to try something new. This is just a small example, but just have some days where you just say yes to things that aren't harmful to your anybody or anybody around you that you haven't done before and that, you maybe haven't thought about. And just to see what would happen from it. There are just so many cool opportunities that can spring up from having a yes day. So just incorporating one of these would just be a great thing, I think, for anybody, because it's just really cool. So, the next thing on my list of unique things that can improve your life is documenting everything. Yes, you can do this any way, shape, or form that you want to, but documenting your life. People used to do this quite a lot before technology, because journaling, just keeping track of things. That's how you keep track of things that happen in life and document memories. And then when, technology came around, we kind of found other ways to entertain ourselves or document our lives. But yeah, documenting everything is not just for the sake of doing it, the sake of just being like, oh yeah, I did this, I did that, and then tomorrow I'm gonna do the same thing. It's not just because it's like, it's cool to, kind of have a list of everything you did, but it's also just very helpful, and it's nice to kind of write things down that are fresh in your mind, and new things that possibly you try, and things that you, opinions that you have on things. You can document things by writing in a journal, maybe you can do like little voice logs. Maybe you can document it through poetry, perhaps. Maybe through YouTube videos. Some people vlog. I don't really think that's the best way to go about it, but just something to do for yourself, because it's just a very fulfilling experience, just documenting things. And there are going to be points in life where you kind of look back and you think, wow, look at my progress, like look how far I've come. I didn't even know I was doing this, but I've been like documenting things in my life and just like on a consistent basis since I was like in sixth. No, I think I've always kept a journal, yeah. And just looking back at some of my old poetry or looking back at some of my old journal entries just feels like looking at a ancient piece of history, a version of myself that I didn't even know existed and that I wouldn't have known existed otherwise looking. And the fulfilling part of also doing this is you can burn memories that you no longer want to have in your life. You look back at it and you're like, oh, and just rip the page and it's gone. It's kind of like a physical way to do something that maybe you've always wanted to do emotionally or mentally. And yeah, there's just many benefits to documenting things in your life. You don't have to document everything, but as much as you possibly can. All right, here is another thing on my list of unique things that can improve your life. Put down your cell phone. I know I sound like I'm just an older person, and it's like, put down your cell phone. The technology's ruining kids these days. No, it's not for any stupid, like, I wouldn't say stupid, but like any reasoning where it's like, yeah, technology is spoiling our brains. No. Put down your phone for a moment and just study your environment. Because there's so many times where we're present, but we're not truly present, if you know what I mean. Like, just for a moment, put down your phone and just study the people around you. Not in a weird way, but just like, what are they doing? Because we're all existing. Study their mannerisms. Like, what is that person thinking right now? what was the motivation for that action that that person just did? Like, it's just a very interesting thing to do. And again, it's something else I do because, I'm studying acting and yada yada yada. But I think this is beneficial to everybody because there's just something that is so intriguing to me about just the way we function and human mannerisms and just the way people do things. Because everybody does things a little differently. Or just the way that nature reacts to certain things. It's really interesting some days to just sit and do that. Now this maybe won't improve your life as much as the other things on the list, but it can change your outlook on life. Just kind of slowing it down and taking it easy. Like just sitting down and looking around you like, my feet are on the ground? Like, how does that work? I mean, we know how it works, but it's kind of interesting. Like, what do your feet feel like against your shoes or your socks? Just these little small moments to just study things. It's fascinating, truly. The last thing on my list kind of ties in with this, but it's quite different. But it's taking a dive into spirituality, or not really spirituality, but just mindfulness in general. The concept of like meditating or practicing gratitude, or just finding a connection to yourself. This is something that has truly changed my life. Like, this is something that I can recommend for anybody. And it doesn't go against like, there's nothing wrong with just sitting down and connecting to yourself, to the things and the people around you, to all that is, and just pondering, meditating, whether you just silently meditate and think to music or to guided meditations that you may find online. It is quite nice. And if meditating isn't for you, because it's not for everybody, then there's constructive rest. Just laying down, boop. You kind of lay down and your knees point towards the ceiling. You put your hands on your tummy and you just kind of lay there. That's another thing that's a thing from Alexander. Or, yoga. That's pretty nice. You don't have to do it, but it's just something that just feels nice, Like, it makes you feel strong and connected. Or practicing gratitude, just like, yeah. I have these headphones. I like them a lot. They're super cool. Or like, I like the way this pen feels against the paper. It's cool, Just like looking at little things and being like, I have that. Like juice. Juice is one of my favorite things. I love juice. I love lemonade. I love iced tea. It makes me really happy. So like, heck yeah, I love it. Like, I'm thankful for that. That's pretty cool. But yeah, just diving into being mindful, or spirituality, or just anything of that sort. It's interesting, and it's a thing that's changed my life and changed the way I look at a lot of things. You don't have to do it, but it's just something that I found that works for me. And yeah, that's my small list of unique things you can do to improve your life. I hope that there was something from this list that you learned and that you didn't think about that really opened you up to something, to think about something. And if it did, comment, like, and share, subscribe, do whatever. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day and peace.